Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the shows of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg and this is...
Woo! Matt. Woo! Strange. And this is...
Soon to be released due to budget cuts.
Oof.
How are you both doing?
I'm tired. I'm in an interesting week in wrestling. For once, I'm not distracted with Beastmen or fucking D&D or anything like that. Today, it's been a fucking interesting week in wrestling, boys.
Wrestling.
How about you?
Uh,
Every day, I've been like, oh shit.
Been playing the new RimWorld DLC as a cannibal cult. That's pretty fun. What else have I been doing? Not much else. Busy at work. New work role's very tiring.
Oh.
Yeah,
Hey, you've had a shit time, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've been
we've
busy.
got like 2 people at work currently, so yeah.
a similar day than I had yesterday.
Yeah, fair mate.
Hence why we're recording this a bit late. Right.
Woo!
So, let's start off with the news. Mr. Strange, I think you should cover our first piece due to...
Ric Flair has asked for and received his release from the Dub Z, would you believe? Ric fucking Flair! Like, we know he likes jumping ship and such like. This is Ric Flair. He was apparently unhappy with his storyline with Lacey Evans. He thought it was weird and didn't agree with it. But Vince pushed it through. Ric Flair thought the plotline was too weirdly pervy. Helicopter Dick Ric Flair went, no, this is weird. We should all think about that for a moment.
Should think about what we've done.
Yeah.
There's also rumours that he was released, but I don't know where that went to at the time, because I only saw that recently. Yeah. I mean, if he doesn't come in as a wingman, I don't give a fuck. And
Apparently,
if he comes in as pinnacle, I don't care.
Apparently, he has talked with Tony Khan before, and Tony Khan said he would never make him an offer if he was like released or try to poach him because he knows how tight he is with WWE.
Yep.
On the other hand, Ric Flair does like jumping company
He's
every
a
now and
mercenary.
then.
You gotta remember that about
he
Ric
is.
Flair.
Ric Flair and the Wingmen would make my fucking year. It would be the best shit in the world.
Yes, mate.
Yeah, I mean, he's... Oh, sorry, I just managed to smack myself in the mouth with my mic. He is like the one
We're
missing...
professional people.
Oh, we're so professional. He's kind of like the one missing of the Four Horsemen.
Isn't he?
AEW.
Isn't he just?
And he is the...
I think you'd be cooler not to play into that and just put him with the wingman, you know? I think, for once, we could just not have that nostalgia pop and actually try and make something new in wrestling. I know it's a far-fetched idea, guys, but...
Oh. So, next bit of news. Let's move on from Ric Flair. Woo!
Oh.
Just a short one. We'll discuss this a little bit later. Cash Wheeler injured in the Impact match he had, but just like a total freak accident. The injury.
Yeah, tore his arm open on a buckle hook, didn't he?
Yeah,
from what I
something
understand.
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, just proper freak accident. Moving on from that, Mr. Muir, do you want to do the big one, or what I consider to be the big one of our releases?
It is the big one.
I'm so baffled by this, guys.
Mate!
It literally hurts my accountancy brain. Like, why would you release Bray? Like, Bray Wyatt's been released by WWE. It literally baffles me because he easily makes his salary back, on merch. There's no arguing this point, right?
What if we gave his gimmick to a Harley Quinn cosplayer and then fired him instead?
But
just for another
70 times that she's actually ruined the gimmick, and making no money from it.
I like that particular female wrestler. The only reason I'm not saying her name is because it will spark off that voice that lives in my house
Really?
Yeah, because
Lily lives in your house.
yeah. I have one of those
I know what
things
you
that has
have.
the same name as her. Miss
Bliss.
Bliss. Yeah.
Yeah, just call her Miss Bliss. Yeah,
Miss
like, I've
Bliss.
got no problem with her.
She's
But
really good. She's grown on me. I even liked when they were doing them together. I like her variation on the gimmick, but why give the whole thing to her when it
because
was his?
Vince
And
is mad.
it's
Vince
not
is
getting
literally
over with the fans.
insane,
The
and
weird.
nobody likes this gimmick.
Guys, I've got good news though. We can put aside all this bad booking and now know that Bray and his brother can come in to continue their father's plot by being IRS.
That'd be amazing.
Wonderful. Evil taxmen.
Evil taxmen would make me happy.
I mean, I
Brett-
appreciate, you know what everyone's expecting.
So
No? What is
New-
everybody expecting?
New leader for the Dark Order.
No.
No.
Evil Uno's been tweeting about this shit. He even put out his tweet was wrestler is released. They should join Dark Order.
Yeah.
Repeat. And his last tweet was Ric Flair should join Dark Order.
yes, lad. Ric Flair can do it. I am happy for Ric Flair to do anything that isn't Horseman related. I'll be excited for it. But basically, the other one that I found funny that happened last night's Raw was them piping in the crowd because the Chicago crowd was too rowdy for them to actually have them on the show.
They were only chanting Bray. We want Bray and CM
CM
Punk.
Punk.
Seth Rollins is the only person who's ever owned the CM Punk chant. In one promo he was doing, they were chanting over him, and he just went, I tried calling him, guys. He didn't want to show up. And they sort of went, oh, and I was like, ah ha ha, good work,
That's
Seth
brilliant.
Rollins.
I've got to say, to be fair, Stephanie cut it off once really well, and The Rock, I think, is the one who won it by actually calling CM Punk in the middle of the ring.
Oh, fuck, he did, didn't he?
Yep. And Punk said the only reason, because I happened to be watching the bit with The Rock, and the only reason he didn't answer was because he was in the elevator on the way down and he had no signal. He was taking his dog for a walk. And he said, I got out the elevator downstairs and my phone is on fire with people going, why aren't you answering your phone? Why aren't you answering your phone? It's like, what's going on? I've got a missed call from... What's this number? Hang on. I know this number.
It's my good buddy Dwayne.
But yeah, Bray, back onto Bray Wyatt. It's...
Hire him for creative, done. I don't give a shit if he's in the ring or not. You can write plot. Off you go, lad. You're great.
Yeah. I think Impact is actually the better place for him to go.
Yeah, no fair. They enjoy a bit more craziness.
Tony Khan doesn't actually like spooky bollocks. He wished he hadn't let Matt Hardy teleport.
I wish he hadn't let Matt Hardy teleport.
Yeah, he wishes that he hadn't done that because it doesn't fit in the AEW canon. And I understand why they did it, but yes. So yeah, I think he's better. I think Bray would be better suited in Impact. Moving on, another piece of interesting news we've got. Adam Cole's contract apparently expired in July. People in Dub-Z thought it expired in December.
That's Dub-Z. I imagine he will show up, I'd guess. I can't say I'm excited for him showing up personally. I'm sure he's good, but he doesn't do anything for me that we don't have other wrestlers that I appreciate more. But he's one of their core crew. On the other hand, he is personally sponsored by Shawn Michaels and the other place, so...
Bigger than that, actually. Bigger than that. He's currently massively sponsored by... He's Triple H's boy. But having seen the way that Vince has treated the NXT champion in his under 3-minute loss to Jeff Hardy on his big debut...
Amazing.
Yeah, Vince doesn't care about NXT. Yeah, so Cole, all of his best mates are there. We will see Adam Cole in AEW at some point, I feel, if it continues on. Mainly because all of his mates are there and his significant others there. I don't think they're married, I can't remember, so I'm just going to be vague on that.
Like all people over 6 foot, like me and Adam Cole are.
And me.
Yeah. I don't care. I can't pretend to care. I'm sorry. He's just like all the rest of them. They're all he's just the same as all the other Shawn Michaels wannabes. I just don't care. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's a lovely guy and all, but I just don't care.
He is probably the nicest guy in wrestling, apparently, from
Sure
most
he is.
reports.
Yeah, it could be, and I take nothing against him, but I just don't care. I'm sorry, mate. I just can't care.
I've got to admit, I would pop for Cole. I really like Adam Cole. From
That's
the
good.
work I've
I'm
seen.
glad
the week.
people would be happy that he turned up. Don't get me wrong. I just don't care.
Rant of the week with Nick Muir.
What am I meant to say? Do you want me to lie?
I'm kind of on board with you, but not to a point of being angry. I'm like, he's another bearded flippy man with long hair.
I'm just
Yeah.
sick. There's just too many people on the show.
So, anyway, that's our news. I'm not going to do the other little piece of news I've got. I'll save that because it's related to somebody we spoke about last week a lot.
Yeah,
And I know you two will get angry if I bring him up. So, moving on, social media. Mr. Strange, I believe you've got something for us.
I'm right, I do. It's my absolute favourite thing that's happened in wrestling this year. No, we don't get the American adverts.
Of course, yeah.
So, during the final match of last week's Dynamite, a Domino's advert came up on the screen. Domino's got very, very upset that their pizzas were being advertised at the same time that a man was cutting another man's head open with a pizza cutter. So they've complained to TNT and to AEW, and the official complaint got leaked on the internet. TNT doesn't give a shit. The ratings were through the roof. They were like, yeah, good work, boys. More of this crazy shit. Now, on every single Domino's post on Twitter, be it, oh, we've got a deal on, or, oh, why not share a pizza with your family? There's just gifs of Nick Cage. Gifs of Nick Cage cutting people with cutters. Gifs of Nick Cage shouting MDK all day. Abs Blue Ribbon were like, fuck yeah, we'll sponsor death matches, and have started linking it and posting on all of the Domino's things as well. They can't post anything without it being about cheap redneck beer and pizza cutters. It's wonderful. It's well worth a look just to see what humanity can do when it comes together to bring down mediocre expensive pizzas.
Yeah, apparently someone else, finger on the pulse, Matt Cardona, who won the big GCW title the other night, tweeted a picture of him eating a Domino's.
Lad.
He's so good at the minute. He's back on form. Right, moving on from there, let's kick off our reviews of the week. As always, we are currently only reviewing BTE and Dynamite due to Dark and Dark Elevation just being still squash matches. Though it's only 45 minutes long, Dark, last week, so I might watch it.
Yeah, it's a real Dark.
It's a real
I
Dark.
missed Taz and Excalibur. Yeah,
that's the thing that I might...
Ooh, a treat.
Yeah, I might treat myself and then regret it. So we start off, as always, with BTE, or Being the Elite. Total honesty here, I watched this really early last week, I think after we did the recording, and kind of regretted it because I don't remember much about it.
I'll be fine. Right.
I didn't watch it at all, so you can speed through me.
Fantastic. Right, the Elite send out Brandon after Cad has just won a match on Dark. All you get is Gallows just looking through the curtain, watching what's happening, and he's just like, "Oh, this ain't good." He's getting his ass kicked and shit like that.
I did watch it.
And he goes, "This is like the first time I masturbated." Was his first line that was great, and then he just keeps watching and goes, he isn't good at fighting or coming. And then Gallows has to go out to save him at the end of it, which, I just enjoy. Then we get more Elite shit I've just written down because, the generic Elite shit. Then we
follow him
cut
round.
to Lever Bates, who's supporting the Dark Order's ban, trying to get them back on the show. Mostly because she likes Reynolds, but, you know, she is trying her best. Then we move on to the Wingman segment, which I fucking loved. They were looking for the lady... Peter Avalon has fallen in love with the lady in red.
That is brilliant.
So, first of all, they obviously think of Red Velvet.
Can I just cut across quick? Did you work out who it was?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't just me, and I think that made it funnier for me.
Yep. So then they all go on about how pretty Red Velvet is. Then I think it's Kylan King is the second one that they think it is. And then it turns out obviously to be Abaddon. The wingmen go over to try their best and she bombs up, so they all run away, which I thought was brilliant. Then we move on to Marco doing the BTE champ stuff. Actually, sorry, this segment's called BTE Championship with Carl Anderson's randomly in the background. I'm going to get the title correct, sorry. It's a handstand contest and Marco wins. It's just very generic. Then we get the two voices I can never remember the name of, where the hand-pointing voices that have been the staple for ages, who actually go over how many cages there are in AEW, which actually made me laugh because that's something we've always discussed about Christian Cage and Brian Cage in a cage and shit like that. So yeah, it was a solid C episode from me.
Yeah, it was alright. Now you've reminded me of it. It was enjoyable enough.
No, I've got more notes, sorry. I'm being useless.
Son.
Yeah, my notes fell apart just as I picked it up. Kenny is then trying to get rid of his beard. And obviously he gets cut away again. And then he screams, "Come on, Don, you gotta come cut a promo for me because I don't know how." As he runs off, which was brilliant. Then we go to the HH segment, which was climbing. He's climbing up somewhere. He then does the incantation to turn the cream into a weird vial. And then offers the cream up, which then turns back into cursed cream. And then it was Cream Mountain all along, apparently. So, this is going somewhere, I guess. Yeah, exactly. But I'm enjoying it. Then Brandon gets his blackmail video, which is him trying on the Dark Order mask from, like, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So they cut back to this, and then we get the Dark Order segment that they forced him to put on, which is Ten has lost Colt. He let him go somewhere, and he's just run off. But Ten also has 10 matches on Tinder, so it's okay. Then Dark Order argue over who gets the tag shot when they win the match, the 5-man. They all go on for ages, and then Hangman just walks in and says that it's going to be TJ that get the shot if anybody gets it, which made me laugh. Then when Hangman walks in, he says about having to reshoot the sex scene for some reason.
Oh yeah, yeah, he did. He's one of them now, mate.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
And then they offer up the clothes to him that obviously he wore for the match. Yeah, it's solid. I enjoyed this. I still think it's a solid say from my notes, and I don't know if you've got anything else to add to it, but it was all right. Definitely worth watching.
I really liked the Dark Order segment, and I have missed them, but I think having a couple of weeks off them really helped.
Yes.
And I loved the little mark out moment with they've given him a present and you didn't quite see what it was, but you had an idea what it was.
Yeah.
That we'll discuss in a couple of moments.
Imminently.
Yeah, very imminently. So, yeah, I agree. I think it was a C. I think maybe a high C for me. I did enjoy having the Dark Order back when you added those extra bits.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, moving on. AEW Dynamite review time. Fight for the Fallen. JR Excalibur and Schiavone on commentary, with Don Callis joining them for the first match. And it's the 10-man elimination. Dark Order and Hangman versus the Elite. It goes in this order. Reynolds is eliminated. Carl Anderson is eliminated. Gallows and Grayson do a double count out. Uno is eliminated. John Silver is eliminated. Matt Jackson is eliminated. And then Hangman is eliminated. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give it?
Boys, it's a big one to talk about. First, we've got to comment on the intros, obviously. That fucking Dark Order intro was phenomenal. The hand signals, the Dark Order coloured clothes for Hangman. It was cliche with all the cowboy bullshit, but I fucking love westerns. So seeing
it was great.
Wicked. The missus did say that the Elite one was as good as the Dark Order's one, but it wasn't.
No, it wasn't, mate.
It was fine, but it was also a sponsorship thing, and you know how that irks my inner anarchist. Yeah, it was
Apart from
entertaining.
Callus's tiny shorts, they were fucking amazing.
Oh, Gallows just the best. Anyway, the match. Yeah, a lovely solid start. Bit clusterfucky. Obviously, it's gonna be at the start, but we get a load of really cool counters. We get a suplex onto a crowd of people by Reynolds that wasn't wobbly. God, just so much happened. And Anderson hitting Gallows after there was a bit of back and forth there with an accidental move. The Beaver Boys combo move that we haven't seen in ages, you know, the knock sweep
It's
suplex.
great.
It's just wonderful. Fatality. Silver versus Just Matt was fucking great fun. And it was a good sort of welcome back for Silver as well. We got back rakes, always please me. However, one little weird note in the middle. JR started talking about backbreakers like they don't happen. We used to have backbreakers back in the day. I was like, JR, they happen every match.
Yeah,
everybody loves backbreakers. The Elite ate a lot of shit for the mid part of the match, but that was bugging me at the time. But obviously, it turns back around for the ending. We got to. It was that corkscrew drop Grayson did, where he pretty much dropped himself on his fucking face. But then he carried on like a beast because he's apparently just a war machine. And I quite like the double count out on Grayson and Gallows. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, it was solid.
Uno's flatliner is one of the best fucking ones there is, and I love it. We got the silver ring charge, which he always does in his other matches. We got his ridiculous kicks, which they're great at. I did cringe at the Indie Taker basketball shot. I'm afraid, boys, it was a bit too stupid for me.
It was. But, you know.
Then we get down to the 3-on-1 against Hangman. But it was cool, and I love the comeback. But there's just so much cheating. Just get in the ring. At least at one point, I'd like the ref to go, could some of you just for a couple of seconds obey the tag rules? Deadeye catch and drop out of nowhere was wicked. It was solid, good. But it wasn't. It was a good, exciting match with a lot of story, but I can't say all of the wrestling was super mind-blowing, so I gave it a high B. It didn't quite cross into A for me with the ringiness and some of the cliched stuff and some of the clusterfuckery bits. That's not to say it wasn't wicked and I didn't love it, but just didn't quite make an A for me.
No, it was a B for me as well. I enjoyed it, but it got very, very silly at the end. And, you know, it is what it is. It's always going to turn into indie, their level of indie shitter. So, I enjoyed it though. And it was a B from me.
So, two things. Firstly, I've just realised I forgot to do the bit in our intro where we talk about the tier list.
It's all right. People know it. We'll have one off.
Yeah.
He's really good.
Interesting ending. I really enjoyed the match. High B from me. I like this kind of clusterfuck bollocks anyway. So, it was always going to get a +1 from whatever it actually was from me. Interesting ending with Hangman losing and not getting. My thought on this is to knock back Hangman's winning the title so it doesn't happen that weekend in Chicago.
Oh, yeah,
which is probably the best thing to do. Because
we said it was too soon. We've all said it's too soon for Hangman to beat Kenny, so slow it down. Why not?
Yeah, a lot of the fan feedback I've been reading online, a lot of them have been going, well, no, it should be happening at Full Gear anyway. That's Paige's pay-per-view. So a lot of fans are thinking that Full Gear, they see that as Hangman's pay-per-view and therefore the one that should actually happen at. And obviously you do not want Hangman, this guy you've been building up brilliantly, which was the other worry, that Hangman would finally get his win on the same night or the same weekend that Punk and Bryan are probably going to debut. So shifting it means that you'll get Punk and Bryan debut. That will pull eyes to the product. Other people can fall in love with Hangman, and you'll get more people being happy when Hangman finally wins a month, 2 months later. So personally, I have no issue with Hangman losing. I actually think it was the right thing to do.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
with you.
100%.
It's better to pace a story. People are so mind fucking drawn into having to get all of the storyline exploded out to them in a month so they can move on to the next wrestling story, Disney series, whatever mindless bollocks people are just drawn into now. Take some time, appreciate the story. Let's go on a ride with this character. He's the best fucking actor they've got.
I honestly think, as I say, certainly from the things I've read, a lot of other AEW fans or fans in general from the comment sections and things I've watched are actually in agreement with you, which is really nice to hear. People aren't after the instant gratification.
Hooray!
You know, they're all like, no, shouldn't be happening just yet. Oh, even better. And, oh, it was probably a sensible move. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Then we had Pac, Chavo Guerrero, and Andre backstage segment. Any thoughts, Scores?
It's alright. I quite like Chavo explaining what a limo was. That made me laugh, but otherwise,
Yeah.
skippable.
It was all right.
Yeah, there we are.
Yeah. Following on from that, we had the FTW Championship celebration. Thoughts?
I have a bunch of notes on this. Well, not a huge amount. I love Starks, obviously. Starks coming out, and obviously I like a bit of New Orleans jazz, even if JR doesn't understand it. Hook, Taz, and Starks are hilarious. Taz was doing that little dance that he got memed about on Twitter about. Starks with "You Can't Hear Me Because You're Inbred." Wonderful. And he just talked over the what chant because his cadence doesn't match the rhythm of normal wrestling speaking, and that pleased me. Then fucking Face Cage came out and he's got the Terminator drumming back, and he killed a trombone man. I mean, he's legit dead. As an overall section, it was fine. It's a C. It was enjoyable, but it really amused me. I love how dorky every member of that team is. I love having a band just so Cage can end a trombonist. Yeah. Wonderful.
He also killed the drum guy as well, but this was great. I enjoyed it. This is my level of shit. You know, I love Taz just dancing. Just stupid. Yeah, it was solid. I like these guys. I'm never going to be upset when I see them. Generally.
Hey, mate.
Raptor was a little offended at the. It was very clever and subtle New Day dig. You don't have trombones in wrestling. Which is the New Day do have a trombone because Xavier Woods plays one. But yeah, I enjoyed it. It was good enough. It got the. So now I'm just gonna. I'm only saying this to take the piss, but then some bloke from Japan did a promo.
Hey, you can't upset me any more than the show did.
Oh right, okay.
This mate, you don't need to.
It's had a fucking S written next to it. I was writing my notes go the ace. No, the fucking ace! Wrestling Tanner! If Tanner ends up on Dynamite, there is no longer doubt. I got really fucking excited then. 20 minutes later, they go, and Moxley is going. Lance is going over to Japan to fight him. I'm literally, my heart shattered.
Yes, mate. I was so upset. You shouldn't do that.
To be fair, as me and the Raptor said, because we were quite looking forward to seeing Tanahashi, it's the fact that this Forbidden Door does need to be a two-way thing.
I'm with you, but
I know it's sucky for us. We don't get to see it.
It's not sucky for us because I can still watch it, but don't go onto a show saying that I'm going to come and claim this belt on this show because that implies you're coming over here. It's like, no, he should challenge them to come over onto his turf and get their ass kicked, you know?
Yeah, that's yeah. maybe more of a fault of the promo than anything else.
Yeah.
Just the wording of the promo.
I'll give it a C because it was technically fine, and I have to put aside all of my heartbreak and hatred.
Yeah, but it is another. It is another statement of showing the forbidden door.
Yeah.
Right, following on from there, we had FTR with Tully versus the Proud and Powerful with Conan. FTR win. This is the match in which Cash took the rather nasty injury and seemed to end a little bit sooner. Thoughts and scores?
I quite enjoyed this, and I know Nick's more cynical than me. I'm loving new Svelte Goblin Ortiz. Him and Wheeler had a pretty good start. I've started writing down their names, so I know which one's which.
Stop being a loser.
Yeah, we get quite a good
things.
little technical sort of start. We get I've never seen somebody pull off a move which trips and makes somebody vault outside the ring before, so that was actually kind of nice and new. Then we get a nice brawl between Dax and Santana, and those two can really go, and it sort of countered the technical wrestling of before. We get some wicked stuff like the assisted sliced bread into the powerbomb, which I think is awesome. O'Hare and Ortiz kept up the technical wrestling in picture-in-picture, which was really solid. Blessed Santana knows that the Tope Con Hero looks better than the Tope Suicida, and that's why he always has to pull them out to flex on people. I love Proud and the Powerful. They're one of my top tag teams. One of my absolute favourite if I was just going on in ring ability. Cash's step-up swinging DDT started pulling out more. Is really good. There was a lot of it going on, and it was all goddamn solid, and I think they all work really well together. And I didn't notice that Guy was out and injured. I just thought Bald was taking up most of the fighting for a bit. But I do love that sheer drop brainbuster. I think it looks wicked, and I gave it a B.
I don't know. Maybe I just expected too much from this. I just thought this was going to be a, blow out the park sort of thing, and I gave it a high C. I don't know. I just felt it felt very forgettable. I thought it felt very much, just a generic match. I don't know. Maybe it was more on me, but just really didn't feel this match.
So I was really looking forward. This is one of the matches that I've been looking forward to since they started this feud. FTR versus Proud and Powerful. Just like, yes, this is one of those three that I've been waiting for. There is one left for FTR to have in AEW. So I gave it a low B, but I think the reason that made it the generic match was because they pulled the ending due to the injury.
I think so too.
Yeah, they shortened it, and I think that hurt it. So that's why it got a low B. I probably would have bought into the hype more and given it an A had that not happened. I can imagine it would have but I think it had to cut off a bit too soon. Raptor jumped on the internet straight away to find out what had happened, and that's where we found out about the injury. So it got a B for me, but it was a low B. And it's a bit unfair to give it that low B, but I've got to go with the match I was given, and even with the injury, unfortunately, I've got to knock a little bit off just because it shortened the match.
Ooh.
Only on the score. If that
sure,
makes
boys,
sense.
it's in the B still. It's fine.
Yeah.
Still a B, yeah.
Yeah. So following on from that, Britt Baker backstage promo.
I thought she was announcing a new enforcer, but she was just shit talking, and she's great at that. I love Brit and Rebel. More of them. I don't mind her 5 minutes of show.
Yeah. I mean, they give more to them than they do to the women's matches, so
More on that later.
Yeah, it was solid. It's solid Britain. What more can you ask for, really? She's great.
Britt back to being an obvious heel. I think she is announcing a new enforcer. I think she is. I think they are announcing someone who's going to be her.
Ruby Riott?
Oh, could be. I've been trying to think who it might be.
Ruby Riott knows Peter Avalon, doesn't she? Because he's dressed up in her costume before.
As people say, they look alike.
Ah, right, really?
I know. Muir is always very down on bringing in lots of new talent, but bringing in some new women's talent.
I'm fine with women's talent, mate.
Yeah,
Definitely. It's just generic male from Dub Z. Oh, great.
Though if you can do with them what you did with Miro, Yeah, you know, you'll get a pass from us eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ruby Riott. Ooh, I'd be quite pleased with that because she's a bit good. But I imagine it'll be Sarah Logan, and you'll both go who?
Who?
Yeah.
Could be anyone who's going to be fired in the next month.
Yeah, it could be
Worry
anyone,
about
mate.
It could be
Who knows
Charlotte.
We need to get Dario's Dial of Doom up in here to choose who's fired next.
That's how they decide who they're releasing.
Oh, Dario, we miss you. Right, moving on. The Tony Khan big announcement. Any thoughts?
Oh God. D.
How do they always manage to disappoint me with the big announcement? Tony Khan has a big announcement. Tony Khan doesn't come out to do his big announcement. The big announcement is the show we know that they were already having.
Yeah.
D.
The big announcement was the name of the show, which the audience picked up on
Yeah, it's
straight
just
away.
a CM Punk thing.
Yeah.
But
We knew he was coming. If it hadn't been leaked all over the internet and there was a show in Chicago coming and stuff, it would matter. But instead of going, maybe CM Punk will be at the Chicago show, they've gone, well, he's definitely coming. And oh, look, the show you knew was coming is going to be in this place where CM Punk is from.
Well,
what a great announcement.
This is where it gets interesting. So moving on from that, we had a Darby Allin promo. Give your thoughts, and I'll give a little bit of stuff that's happened.
Well, I'm amazed that he's calling out Shane McMahon. I mean, it's bold. If Shane comes out, I can't wait for it.
Morg, I don't want to put down your favourite wrestler, and this isn't a criticism against CM Punk in any of the ironic ways that we like to rip on him.
Yeah.
If they built up all of the hype, CM Punk with the best in the world, and then Here Comes the Money started playing,
I would mark the shit out.
Mate, I'd lose my mind. I'd be like, no.
I will be honest, about 3 years ago, it might even be longer than that, when Shane McMahon came back, I watched that Raw, not live,
You're
but
excited.
literally knowing nothing. And the crowd pop was as loud as when Punk won in
hilarious.
Chicago.
Yeah,
That
people
pop
love
for
Shane.
Shane was huge, and it was
He
brilliantly
looks like
done.
my Uncle Steve. He looks like my Uncle Steve.
Now, so-
Sorry, back to the actual.
yeah.
thing.
So, what did you guys think of the Darby Allin promo? And I will give you the interesting insight.
It's far too on the nose, but yeah, it is what it is. And Darby will probably be good with him.
I think Darby's a good place for him to go. It gives him a connection to Darby and Sting. It means he's not pushed straight away into the big game picture, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
They've got similar sort of indie, harder hitting styles. They're gonna be fine, but it's the least subtle thing
So Darby did an interview after this, or like a fan question thing, and they asked him about it, and he was like, "Oh no, I wasn't mentioning that person. I was meaning Sammy Guevara, who goes around telling everyone he's the best."
Really?
But this is the thing.
No.
It's all playing because they've not officially, this is back to what you were just talking about, they're still hint dropping, and everyone's putting two and two together, which is acceptable because that's what Dub Z did with Y2J when they brought him back with the Save Us, except as long as they don't fuck it up like Dub Z did, where they did the Save Us and then it kept being somebody else coming back, and they ran it too long. So for me, and that Y2J thing saved my watching wrestling, but God, it was a slog to get to that point. It was when me
Jane
and Dan...
versus Punk versus Sammy for the world title.
Oh, I like that. So yeah, so Darby's doing a
Excuse me, it's
clever job.
Ortiz that always goes the best.
Oh shit!
Hey, I'd watch that match.
Me too.
Give it a C. It was fine.
Muted myself then. Right, moving on. Hikuleo with King Haku versus Lance Archer for the IWGP US Championship. Lance wins with the blackout. Thoughts and scores?
I really, really, really wanted this to be better than it was, and that's not to say it was bad. It was fine. I I had a good time. I had some good brawling. I like Lance in the ring. He's got good strikes and stuff. It took me a while to get over how massive biblical giant fucking Hikuleo is.
Mate, it's ridiculous.
I kind of loved the Haku spot because it's a nerve strike. It didn't seem so oversold or undersold.
No, because
So
an old guy
jumps-
would still know how to do a nerve hold. It doesn't need his strength. It's just knowing how to do it.
Yeah, Hikuleo needs to work on his chest slaps. He's not going to make it in Japan with those if he doesn't work on those. But otherwise, solid enough. Biggest superplex I've ever seen. That's like,
Yes, mate, fair.
like 13 feet of superplex plus the turnbuckle. Not sure the ending was earned. I'm not sure Hikuleo was battered down to deserve that blackout. But otherwise, I was excited. It was solid. I gave it a C. It was good enough time filler.
It was fine enough, young lion versus big lad,
Yeah, exactly.
It was fine. It was a solid C match. I didn't expect much more. I liked the Haku spot. It was solid. I give it a high C.
You see, of all the old wrestlers that they have, so legends, let's call them legends because I think that's unfair to them. Of all the legends they have, bringing out Haku could have flicked him with one finger because I know of Haku's reputation, and I would have bought if Lance had sold like Shawn Michaels sold for Hulk Hogan, because Haku has that rep for being one of the real tough guys, real life tough guys.
Wasn't like what they did.
But yeah, I really like what they did, and I like, you guys made it even better with pointing that out, that doing a nerve hold, yeah, of course he'd know how to do that. Wouldn't make any difference. That'd still take down Lance. I enjoyed it. I gave it a C, much the same as you. It was all right. It was a solid match.
Yeah.
So, following on from there, have you got your pitchforks out, boys? It was a Cody backstage interview.
Oh, great!
And Malachi Black attacks Cody.
We actually open with a face turn from Malachi Black, because I'm pretty sure that first boot just went straight into Cody's face. The one over the chairs. Then I started cheering for blessed face Malachi.
Yeah.
I liked his calmly sort of crouch down and start explaining character. I don't think there's a cool character there. I'm excited to see it. The sad thing is, I don't give a fuck about Cody. And there I was, cheering on Malachi Black. They hit Fuego in the face, and I was like, oh no, he's not a face.
He's a heel.
I
can't believe he hit Fuego.
I can't believe he hit Fuego. I like the character work we got from Black. I just wish it was anybody else he was interacting with.
Hopefully, this is going to put Cody out for a good long time. Because he's got his wife that's just had a kid. He's got his big show, whatever it's called. Hopefully he just fucks off for a while, and then we can enjoy him again when he comes back.
Yeah, if this all leads, just to back you up on it, if this all leads to the Cody Rhodes exit angle, I will forgive them for virtually everything. If Black just
destroys them,
like he did with Brody.
Yeah,
I had a mental blank there. Like the Brody one, when we just went, fuck, guys, that was amazing. So yeah, fingers crossed. This may gain some points back later. I thought it was all right. I like watching Aleister Black kick people in the head.
That's fair.
Malachi Black kick people in the head. I like that round. I like that roundhouse. I think it looks cool. Following on,
better than a super kick.
Yes.
God, yes.
Following on from that, we had a Miro promo.
Finally,
we're gonna gush.
Lee Johnson is going to suffer God's wrath.
He loves it so much. I just wrote down my favourite lines, which are, as always, God's favourite champion. He said, "It's my divine right," under the eyes of a vengeful God or something there. And he thanked his double-jointed wife. Double-jointed. He's wonderful. I love him. I'll give it a B. I just can't give it an A because this is just out of my fucking love for an over-the-top Deus Vult meme, basically, on legs.
I think she's written all of this, if I remember correctly. I remember Miro saying something like, no, Lana's helping me completely with this new character.
Oh, what a Chad. Oh, yeah. She's great.
So, yeah, this is great. I love him. it's been a complete turnaround for him, and I think he's the best mid-card champion you could ask for. In all honesty, I think he's brilliant.
For me, it's nice to see them somewhere actually having the faith in him and letting him go with it.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, in the future, we also know he's really good at doing comedy as well. He's so versatile, and if they
There's
do
comedy in
if
these promos.
if yes, but different kind. But if they do ever bring Lana with him, the chemistry between those two, and they just let them be them, the chemistry between those two is just fucking hilarious.
I think she would be better once he's lost the belt. If I was going to be any sort of criticism,
she can come and console him.
Yeah. But thing is, this also proved he doesn't really need someone to do promos for him. That's the thing.
No.
And she doesn't need to be a wrestler.
No.
Unless she's playing the babyface in peril wrestler, in which case that's a different thing. Anyway, moving on. Following on from that, we had Private Party and Angelico with Matt Hardy versus Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, with Christian Cage versus Marco. Christian gets the win with a Flock Splash. Then Christian gets hit by Blade with the Brass Knucks. What did you guys think of the match? What score did you give it?
Boys, my notes are a collection of messy things that started facetiously, and then we'll see where they go, shall we? First of all, I was a little bit mad. There was hardly any Angelico dancing music.
Why?
Time for him to dance.
Dare you?
So I openingly gave the match a D, going, lol, no Angelico music. That's the important joke for me. And I felt bad for Jurassic Express, as their music is now just Jungle Boy's music. I'm not saying they're Genettis, but here we are. We get a very quick note from Tony Schiavone talking about how they couldn't fit the QT apology in.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Then I was sort of excited. I was like, can Christian Cage wrestle Angelico? Because we often criticize Angelico style, but it's not one that a lot of people seem to be comfortable with. We got a fucking... I hate triple suplex spots. I hate it when somebody lifts three people who are holding each other. I hate it. Almost as much as I hate people being brought in by pulling the rope, but I hate suplexing three people at once. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you're right, but...
do you remember when, like, Luchasaurus had huge potential and we were really excited for him? I'm losing that. This was a weird match, and I'm not gelling with it. I just wasn't gelling with it. I didn't feel it. It wasn't... I've been trying that we should have a Lucha-style tag league, trios league since AEW started, and maybe we don't deserve it. Maybe we shouldn't have a trios tag league. And then Blade came out at the end to absolutely fucking mog everybody with his sculpted man chest.
He's so ridiculous at the moment. He's so in shape. The lad's done so well.
But overall, I gave it a D. I thought it was clusterfucky, and I didn't enjoy it.
This wasn't the match for me either. I did not enjoy this, and I don't want to disparage anybody in it because I generally like all of the people involved. It was just not good. Sorry, boys.
We don't like Matt Hardy. No, he wasn't in, was he?
No, he wasn't in this match. You leave Matt Hardy alone. He's all right. He just shouldn't wrestle anymore. Yeah.
I gave it.
You saved this, Morg?
I gave it a low C. It was short. It didn't offend me.
No.
It didn't offend me enough to give it a D, but it wasn't good enough to get a pure C. It was just short, and I think the wrong guy got the pin. As much as I like Christian, and I think they've been using him well as the legend with Jungle Boy. Me and the Raptor both actually quite like the way they've used him as more of a on the same level and that. And yeah, this just was a bit meh.
It's just a bit lame, wasn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't even get. It's all right. It was a low C, and it's getting a D overall anyway.
It is.
Right, following on from that, Nick Gage promo package. Any thoughts?
He's a heel now. He sold me as a murderous monster. He did his usual stuff, showed his scary teeth, waved his hand sign around. If a lad, it was solid. I liked it. It made me understand who Nick Gage is, except as a heel for this plot line, obviously. Solid.
Yeah, it was solid. Standard They're getting really good at these little promos to introduce
Yeah.
new people and whatever. It was good. I give it a C.
Right, following on from that, Julia Hart with the Varsity Blondes versus Thunder Rosa. Thunder wins with the Fire Thunder driver. Thoughts and scores.
4 minutes, 2 seconds.
Next
Julia. Julia, dance. She's very likable, isn't she? She's got a proper happy
She's
smiley
got
face.
big baby face energy.
Yeah, and then she was dancing around the ring, and fucking Thunder Rosa music came on. She came out, and I just wrote F's in the chat for Julia. Rosa's really good, obviously, and we actually got a solid wrestling start. I quite liked Rosa getting Julia to celebrate and then using that as the distraction to get the landing on her. That's quite creative. Maybe save a cool spot for that when you've got more than 4 minutes, 2 seconds, though. Julie got a few spots post that, but it was 90% Rosa. Gave it a D again. I mean, arguably, Julia looked better than your regular squash match, and I came out quite liking Julia. I don't think it earned more than a D.
Wasn't good, was it? You know.
The wrestling was technically all right.
Yeah, but it was also a squash, mate. So, you know, it's a D from me. Just a squash.
It was all right. I gave it a C because it was all right.
I think I'm in a similar sort of thing with you.
I didn't feel like a pure squash, and it was nice to see Thunder and nice to see her with the after she's now definitely all elite. So yeah, I gave it a C, but in reality, I think it mainly got a C because I quite like both women in the match. Yeah, I think it edged itself over because I quite like both of them and they both got to show off and it had a couple of nice little bits, but overall it wasn't great. And can we have more time for this women's division and actually build some stories for this women's division?
No.
We will soon. Brandy will be back soon.
Oh, fuck off.
I'm hoping she takes as long as Becky Lynch has taken to return.
Actually,
that's not true. I want Brandy to come back and cut promos.
I want Brandy to be Brandy on the show. She's fine as Brandy. I don't want a booking. That's all.
I wanted to come back and cut promos. She's still one of my favourites. She hasn't ruined her promo ability for me yet, and yeah, she probably sits in. And I'm quite happy to see a promo off between her and Britt. Preferably then with Brandy revealing whoever it is who's going to fight for her, because I think a promo off between those two would be brilliant.
Anyway, it's not happening.
Yeah, moving on. Mox promo. Thoughts?
Moxley?
It's their normal good sort of stuff where somebody who's been to a JPW gives you a quick run over of who people are and how they're going to deal with it. I like it. Solid Mox. It's normal thumbs up.
I liked him complaining about all the Olympians being able to go over there, but he's not allowed to and stuff like that. I thought it was good. It was great. Mox is good.
So then MJF joins commentary for Jericho versus Nick Gage in a no rules match, I believe it was. Which is one of the trials of Jericho. Also, no member of the Inner Circle is allowed to come down to ringside. Jericho wins with the Judas effect. After that, we'll discuss what happened after that afterwards. Thoughts and scores on the match.
Oh, this is a weird one for me. I'm going to say overall I had a good time. It does fall into the C rank for me. We get a great... MJF's lower third saying loving life as he struts out was great. Guys, didn't start with a lot of chemistry or a lot of death match. There was a fucking terrible Falcon Arrow.
I think I could have done better.
Let's just say it took a little bit to warm up. I did get excited when the fluorescent tubes came out, even though they didn't get used for ages. It's not really a death match if you don't have fluorescent tubes.
You got the tubes, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure Jericho earned his first set of face bleeding. He just all went down in a corner to sum in, and then he was bleeding from the face. We got the pizza cutter spots, which were kind of comedy. We got him walking all the ropes, which is what he does. That's part of his gimmick. Mrs. didn't get it, but that's the things he does. Nick Gage does, in fact, taunt more than Penta, though, doesn't he? Jesus.
I didn't
Calm it
realize
down.
that was possible.
Post the pizza cutter forehead cut, we got some blood I thought was at least legit. Nick Gage spent quite a bit of time looking under the ring for a variety of weapons. I was a bit like, oh, now maybe
Maybe
his feet
anything.
up.
Yeah.
People were chanting, "We want tables," didn't get tables. JR buried Nick Gage, but he wasn't on it. Wasn't that highest speed match, but obviously there was a lot of blood and such like in it. Mostly the thing that dragged me off was how much time was spent looking for things under the ring. And he had to actually grab a guy and go, where? Did get a glass plate, always pleases me. We got Jericho's buckle fucking poison rider again. In fact,
Yeah.
Jericho's pulling that off regularly now. The glass was great. Nick Gage's Gotch pile driver is actually really, really good solid. When on the glass, it's brutal. We got a mist. I fucking love a mist. Overall, like, it was all right. Everything was solid, other than that one Falcon Arrow. It was a bit slow. It's a death match, so you have to actually break the pace down a bit more. I was a little bit sad that so much blood came from mediocrity, I almost want to say. Not to just, put down the guys in the ring. Obviously, it's brutal. They pull off a lot of cool shit, but there was too much lurking under the ring and too much taunting for me to get really engaged in the match. So I gave it a C out of effort and story work and stuff, but I don't think it earned more than that from me.
I'd like to say, first of all, isn't it weird that death match, like a proper styled death match, had over 1 million viewers on TV?
Isn't it? Isn't
Isn't
that
that
weird?
Yeah, first of all. Yeah, this ain't for me. I don't care. I find them slow and ponderous death matches. Like, obviously it's brutal, don't get me wrong. They're putting their bodies on the line for this stuff, but it ain't for me. It was a C for me. It was a match.
So it's C's all round. The Raptor didn't want to look for the pizza cutter, and it wasn't until I pointed out the fact that what he actually does is drag his knuckles and the handle across Jericho's head that she caught on the second time. Went, oh yeah, so he does. Which actually gave Nick Gage a bit of a more thumbs up for me, because there's some work in there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You're a real deathmatch guy. You have to be safe.
Yeah. He relied on the blade job earlier to make it look better, which I did quite appreciate. Now, I quite like a hardcore match, as we know, and we know from when we did our favourites, but this was not the Phoenix versus Mill, or any of the other of those style of matches that we love from Lucha Underground.
Friends versus Power and Powerful.
Best Friends versus Proud and Powerful, or any of some of the good ECW hardcore matches. It didn't have that feel. It just felt a little bit like maybe it is the deathmatch thing, and I'm not used to death matches as such, where they are a little bit too slow. So yeah, I gave it a C as well. It was alright.
Nothing terrible, just didn't.
Yeah. So following on from that, we had an MJF promo whereby he announced the next Labour of Jericho, and the next Labour of Jericho is Juventud Guerrero. Thoughts?
I loved this because I didn't know who Juventud Guerrero was. But the fact they referenced it back to that promo where Jericho said it and MJF didn't know who he was and had to go and Google it.
Yeah, and then obviously he went and talked to him because he Googled it and stuff like that. It was great.
It kind of got me in on the joke, as though I was a little part of it, like when you're laughing next to a poster of people on it. That's kind of how I felt. So, I'm excited. I have picked the ultimate last challenge in my notes.
Yeah, what's the ultimate last challenge?
Who could Jericho not beat?
Yeah.
A man who has unanswered victories over Tanahashi, Okada, and Omega.
Oh no! Is it Yano?
It is Yano, the true ace of New Japan. Unanswered victories over Moxley as well.
That's right.
But no, on the actual bit, I was actually down with this. Like, I had to look up the guy. He's still going. He's still active, just in like Mexican-y indie leagues and stuff. So yeah, fuck it. I'm in on the joke. Why not?
It's
Let's do
mad
this.
that Hoovy's still going, seeing as he was so fucking reckless in Dubsy Dubs.
On a point of age, Raps
Yeah.
looked him up. He's a lot younger than you think.
Yeah, I know, but still, if you remember any of his matches, he was always nearly killing himself in the frickin' ring. Yeah, it should be good. It should be fun. It should be, all right. I need to see what the other Labours are as well, because I'm just interested in how the story goes
no.
now.
Yeah, it's Yano and Ric Flair.
Ric Flair is 5, yeah.
I'm quite looking forward to this. Some of the early Jericho matches I watched were against people like Juventud. So yeah, I'm quite, if Juventud Guerrero can still go to the same level that Jericho can, if you consider their respective ages that, then this could be a solid match. And I would almost hope that they've both aged in the same way and we get something a little bit different. Though I have a feeling that Juventude's still just going to throw himself around the ring like God knows what. And
Die like man.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was interesting. It got it got a pop out of me. I'm not going to say I marked for it, but it certainly got a pop out of me when he named it, and I liked the way MJF brought it in.
As I said, I don't have the nostalgia, but the way they announced it was enough for me to go, "Oh, okay, fair cop. That's good,"
Yeah.
What you need is a tie-in, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
That's all.
Exactly.
And also, I'm guessing this is another, because I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe Juventud is actually in AAA. I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I think he is. So I think this is another the cross promotion.
Expanded lore of wrestling.
Expanded lore of wrestling. Overall, Mr. Strange, what are our scores?
We've had a few ups, we've had a few downs, but the entire show's pretty much been down the centre of the line. C rank. Yeah, it's been good. We've been entertained. We've been a little bit up, we've been a bit down. We've rolled some eyes, we've got excited. But yeah, good show. Not great, but good. My time wasn't wasted and I didn't look away from the screen.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I wasted my 2 hours watching this at all. I thought it was solid. This is what I expect from a wrestling show. It was, good. I had some matches I enjoyed. I had some bits I didn't enjoy, but not everything's going to be for me. So, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a 3-ring circus. Interesting this week. I noticed from last week where it built up. This week it started high and then chilled out. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. I enjoyed it. I'm still looking forward to, and I have a feeling we are going to go into a little bit of a mini AEW holding pattern for the rest of this month, where you don't want to do anything but there's going to be eyes on the product, so they need to be clever at the minute.
They need to carry on their storylines. I don't think they should be stalling at all.
Yeah, sorry. I meant with trying to bring in new things. I think keep your storylines ticking over, but keep them being strong, and I want to see more Hangman Page. So there you have it. That's our reviews for the week. I don't believe we've got any questions or anything.
Sadly not.
No. Either of you have anything interesting you want to discuss or throw to our round table, or are we just going to head to sign off?
What would you do for the last 2 Jericho?
Oh, I like it.
He's got to win, hasn't he? He has
obviously.
to win.
Oh, right, I'm in on this.
Yeah. What would you do?
Okay, how about we say one silly one and one sensible one?
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Okay, I don't want anybody. I need a free agent. Let me think. Yano is my silly one, and I honestly think you could give Jericho a win over Yano by taking him back to his Healy shenanigans side. I think you could have a great, hilarious match there, and Yano's cushions and corner things.
Yano to get the win. Yeah.
Who's a good final one?
I've got my sensible final one. If you want me
got
to do
my
that
sense.
while you think. Do you want to do your
Go
one
on.
first, Muir, just in case
I
we do the
was-
same?
I was thinking it'll either be Lance Storm or
Ken Shamrock.
Dean Malenko. Oh, it could be Ken Shamrock as well.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I would expect, because I think this is Jericho hanging up his boots, sort of, you know. His
You think in that
rounding
way?
off tour. Yeah.
Yeah, you called my one. Yeah, Lance Storm, Jericho's first ever match. You can pull Lance Storm out of retirement for one match.
But, or it could be Dean Malenko because he has been backstage quite a bit, so you know he is working there.
I'm not sure if Dean's able. I don't know if he's had to, if he's one of the. I don't think he would have had to retire because he didn't have. He's a bit like Jericho. They are both have a ring style that is conducive to a long
surviving.
A long career. So yeah, Dean Malenko's an interesting one, and we know he's a backstage. And then if Jericho can redo the Man of 1,003 Holds promo as part of it, I wouldn't care. I also see somebody else mentioned this because they were joking in one of the comment sections of what if Jericho is just slowly going to regress through all of his gimmicks in this. So he did the Paymaker, and then he'll do the List of Jericho, and he'll regress. And they brought in Hoovertude too early for that one because you could go back to Lionheart for either of the other two.
He can fight Kevin Owens next week when he's released. Get back his friendship feud.
Oh God!
You think they're releasing all these people and they're keeping Kevin Owens? I've got terrible news for you.
Right. So I just wanted to point something out. I meant to mention this earlier when we talked about Adam Cole. Just quickly, because it's just jumped into my head. So I said about Adam Cole, you know, that his contract. They were like, "Oh, what? We better start doing something about Adam Cole's contract that expires in December." What, the one that expired last week? But we've also got the Aleister Black. It's fine. He's on a 90-day no compete. Oh, what? He's on a 30-day no compete. Oh.
Yeah.
There is some serious going wrong in the backstage. So, yeah.
It's AJ's contract up.
So I'm going to steal the silly one that we discussed in our chat previously, which is Jericho's last Labour will be that he has to retire Ric Flair.
I think that could be done, and I think it would actually work. I think that would actually be kind of cool. Who else? They could have him in an actually injured match against Ryback.
Actually injured match.
I'm running out of ones I can rip on, if I'm honest with you boys. I'm gonna have to come up with a serious.
I'm gonna go with the insane clown posse because you went with the clown maker gimmick last week, so you know.
Just clown maker. I reckon you could get him in a Okada match. Oh no, they're both of them on a Japanese.
It's perfectly alright. I'm shocked you went for Okada and you didn't go for somebody else.
Naito doesn't fit as much as I love my boy. He's not known as that big main event man, as like, you know, over in America. He doesn't tick that final boss feel for them.
No, he doesn't.
I wonder if you could do like put a gauntlet match where Jericho's got to go through all of the new signees. But the problem is that Jericho's got to win.
There's just too many new signees. You'll never do it.
Yeah, but
there'll be a new one every week. A week.
This is where they'll find out that Bray Wyatt's no compete is actually a fortnight.
That's what I was about to say. We'll go with Yano and a Jericho Funhouse match for the final one.
Ooh, that'd actually be quite cool.
Yeah, I'd go.
I'd enjoy having a social breakdown of Jericho's.
Bray can't compete doesn't mean he can't write.
That is true. I don't know. It's a hard one. I think it'll be good though. Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far.
They're pulling out things that are interesting.
Yeah, they're not just generic matches. They're actually something a bit different, which is good.
It's not what we expected, which was we thought he would just have to go through the Pinnacle.
Yeah, the Pinnacle or the Inner Circle. Yeah.
Well, the Inner Circle one, I actually appreciate why they didn't do that, because
You're burying them, basically.
well, not
'cause
even
you've got
that.
to win.
Right,
Yeah.
not even that, because they'd just do the finger poke of doom and we'd all be in on the joke.
Yeah, fair.
But that's, you know what I mean? They're this brotherhood. They would literally come out one after another and just lay down for him. And we'd all laugh and giggle and pop about, you know, well, I'm not saying we pop, but, you know, we'd all laugh and giggle at the fact of, you know, MJF wrote himself into a dumb corner. But I don't think that actually helps anyone. We'll chuckle at it for 5 minutes and then go, do you know what? In the grand scheme of things, that helped nobody.
That was stupid. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where they come. And if they keep pulling these names out, well, it's going to be interesting.
Ric
Cool
Flair.
stuff.
Ric Flair. So
Yeah, Oh.
there you have it. That's our show for the weekend. I'd like to thank Anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. You can find us on Anchor.fm, Spotify, and YouTube as Wrestleopinionated. Over to you, Mr. Muir.
Thank you very much for listening. The G5 Stars just started in Stardom. If you want to watch some good female wrestling, if you want to send in any questions, please send them into wrestleopinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, or WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Over to you, Strange.
Please like, share, subscribe, hammer your face into any button which gives us extra notice and extra applause. We fucking love it. Yeah, please do all the different things that help spread this wonderful message and wonderful show. We appreciate you listening. Thank you very much for being here with us. The headphones are running out. Over to you, Morg.
All that's left to be said is goodbye and good night.